Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Pastor Patty Hostetler from Hannah's House 119. We're talking about aging out of foster care. What happens to these young ladies? I know when I was 18, I would not have been ready to forge out there into the world and live on my own. Wouldn't have the skills.
Right. And often these girls have been bounced around from home to home. They haven't found their forever families. That's why they are now aging out of the system. And 30,000 young people will age out of the foster care system in the United States every year. And so they're so vulnerable to so many things: early pregnancy, homelessness, imprisonment, trafficking. And so what we do is we work with a Pathway Caring for Children.
Wonderful
and
organization.
We work for, Job and Family Services, working with their young people who are getting ready to age out. So we're building relationship with them so that when they do, they have someone, because often they lose all of the services that had been provided for them. So if we can get in there and build that relationship, teach them some life skills, they have someone, then they can, still be in a relationship, keeping eyes on them and helping them get where they need to be after they turn 18.
And again, mentoring and walking through life with them.
Exactly.
So they can go from Pathway to you, to Hannah's House.
Yeah.
What kinds of life skills and where do you start and what kinds of things do you help them with?
Oh my goodness. All the way from relationship building, healthy relationships, what that looks like, red flags in relationships, all the way to cooking, teaching them the basic things that you and I probably learn naturally in our homes. We have kids that don't even know how to open a can opener. They just have never had that, So many things, trust, a lot of things that we're able to just pour into their lives. And a lot of times it's just walking through life with them, taking them to the grocery store with us, showing them how to use a coupon, how to make their money last, that kind of thing, from budgeting, banking, all of those things.
I would imagine they would start to bond with each other. Do you see some lifelong friendships form among the young ladies?
We do. It's really nice because we want them to have a healthy peer relationship. So we do that in the schools. Sometimes it's hard for where we go. Sometimes it's hard for them to trust even their peers. Sometimes we don't do friends. Friends betray us. Friends use what we say against it. And so they walk through life alone. And so we help them build that healthy peer relationship. And we really have had some girls that have found their best friends at Hannah's House.
That's so wonderful. What other aspects of this ministry? I mean, the scope is so amazing. Tell us more of the kinds of things that you do.
Yeah. Well, one thing that we do is we go into schools to do some prevention work. We have Girls Circle in several different schools. I think we have 13 or 14 groups. We're starting 2 more in April. Again, where they come together as a small group of their peers. They have a couple mentors within that group. And they're doing again, life skill, and they're doing relationship building. They're spending time together. They're building healthy community. We take them outside of the schools often, like for field trips. We show them, like we go to First Fridays. We take them on events like Alive, just so that they see that there are positive, healthy things out there. We have people come in and talk about domestic violence and rape prevention. We're always asking people, if you have a life skill, come share it with us, in our groups.
And you're able to take this into the schools?
We are, yeah.
And they know you're a faith-based organization?
They do. And we just have such great opportunity to show them that our curriculum that we use for life skill is life skill based. It's not a faith skill thing. But what's so awesome is our faith compels us to do what we do.
Yes.
Jesus helped us overcome and to give us a second chance. And that's what we want to offer our girls. And just God's presence through His Spirit and through love is so powerful. It is really changing lives, just His presence.
If schools want to contact you and have you come to speak with their girls, how do they do that?
They can call me. Am I allowed to give my phone number out?
Absolutely,
okay.
Sure, if you don't mind.
Sure, 330-495-2970. We do have a Facebook, Hannah's House 119, and we have a website, www.hannahshouse119.com.
And you're a .com, not a .org.
Correct.
Okay, good to remember. What volunteer opportunities, before I ask that, do you have other aspects of the ministry you want to cover?
I think we may have covered everything.
Oh, good job. Okay. So let's talk about how can people volunteer with you?
There are so many ways to volunteer at Hannah's House, from actually working in the office, because not everybody's meant to be a mentor, and we appreciate when they realize that, but they have other maybe tactical skills that they can use for us. So from working in the office, cleaning, cooking, we feed about like 120, I think, mouths every week, because we take food into the groups when we do them. We feed our parents,
You feed the parents too.
We do. We eat together every week. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And I didn't mean to stop you there.
No, that's
what
okay.
Other volunteer opportunities?
Driving is huge for us to be able to, like 2 of our girls this morning had appointments, a doctor's appointment, and then she needed to get some things settled at welfare. A lot of the girls that we're working with just not have transportation. So they don't stay in treatment because they can't get there on a consistent basis. They aren't getting prenatal care unless we're driving them to those things. Almost all of the groups that we do outside of the schools, we're bringing the girls to us. So transportation is huge. If you could just volunteer just to drive girls around for us, drop them off and pick them back up, a couple hours later. Mentoring is huge. The more mentors we have, the more schools we can get in doing prevention. And then one-on-one mentoring, again, the family courts are keeping us really busy. But eventually, if we don't have the mentors to work with them, we'll have to kind of put a cap on that. So,
as far as transportation, what areas do you cover and serve so people might be able to know, hey, I'm close enough by, I'm a recent retiree. That sounds like something I could do.
Yeah. Stark County. We have girls all over Stark County.
And in any area of Stark County?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. And hannahshouse119.com.
Correct.
Okay, great. I want to get back to the family part of it.
Okay.
When you affect the life of one member of the family, it can really have a ripple effect and have a very positive effect on the rest of the family. Yeah. Do you have any success stories there? Or what do you see? What do you see happening with families?
This is a hard cycle to break. I'll put that out there. These are girls that have lived a life. We have one girl who really seriously lived a life of crime. Her dad would drive her around doing drug deals. He, we're sure was a pimp. He has passed away over a drug overdose. But this was all this girl knew. Ended up in trafficking herself. And so, for her, we were able to help her to get her own place. She has a little one. She was a teen mom. And so as far for her, we're taking part in breaking that cycle for her little girl, that she doesn't have to live that same life that her mom necessarily lived.
What in the world does it look like when a person's eyes are open to see that what they thought was reality was such a twisted form of it? And it almost like the world going from that scene in Wizard of Oz, going from black and white to color when the door opens up and, oh my goodness, there's a whole different way to be living. What is that like?
Yeah, and I think the word that comes to my mind when you were saying that is hope.
Yes.
They have hope. They have hope for themselves and for their little one.
And you see that spreading around them to the world all around them?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, my goodness. How wonderful. Are you affiliated with one particular church?
I served at the East Canton Church of God for many years as the youth pastor there. I have worked across our district in Northeast Ohio with students as a student leader coordinator. And we have a lot of churches that are supporting us because we are a nonprofit. And so we have a lot of churches that are partnering with us throughout Northeast Ohio. I still worship at the East Canton Church of God, but they are a great support for us. They actually are giving us the house that we're in right now. It used to be the parsonage, but the pastor isn't using it any longer. So as long as we're doing God's work and giving him glory, we can use it for as long as we need to.
That is wonderful. That's my very next question is funding. How can people support you?
Again,
you take individual donors?
Absolutely. Private donors, churches. I speak at a lot of churches. Again, raising awareness even in the trafficking piece of all this, because again, the more eyes and ears we can have out there, the better.
How do we give?
You can go to the website and give through PayPal there. You can send checks. Our address is all out there on
the website.
The website, yeah.
And we'll say that again. Can't say it too many times. Hannah's House, 119.com. You mentioned men a couple of minutes ago. You said we don't only serve young ladies. We do have ministry towards men as well. In what ways does Hannah's House 119 help young men?
Well, we're at a school over at Choices High School. It's a Canton City school. And they are at very high risk, the young people there. And we were serving the moms over there and our high-risk girls, doing girls' clubs every week. And the guys were just so attracted by two things. One, the girls.
Sure.
And then also the food, because we take food in.
Oh, every time.
And so they would sneak in. And so a real tragic story, actually. They had been saying over, when are we going to have a guys group? And I said, give me an hour. I'll bring food and we'll get some guys in here for you.
Yeah.
Well, around Christmas time 2 years ago, one of our young guys over there had witnessed his stepfather committing suicide right in front of him.
Oh, gosh.
And and so he kind of fell apart, on Monday at school. And they said, what can we do for you? And part of what he wanted was a guys group, to have that support he was seeing with the girls.
Yes.
And so we took advantage of that right away and got a guys group. So it's growing fast. We have two young men, a Canton police officer and another man who works a lot in the Canton City inner city with the youth. They meet with our guys every week, and they are like bursting at the seams. They have so many guys coming to that group. We also work with the foster young men who are getting ready to age out of the system. We have a program for them as well.
As far as that, help with employment is there as well?
Help with employment? We have not stepped into that with our young men, no.
Maybe that will be next.
Yeah. If you have that life skill and you're listening, you want to work with our guys, that would be great.
Call her right away. Give us the number again.
330-495-2970.
So what kinds of issues do you see with young men then?
With the young men in the school that we're working in, violence, they're already involved with the law. A lot of pretty high-risk men in a sense where they have really seen a lot in their own lives, are dealing with a lot in their own lives to overcome.
One thing that you said was so encouraging, I think, is the fact that they are working with a police officer to be able to build a relationship between young men and police officers so that there's no miscommunication there.
Yeah, and that was really important to him when he started. He didn't tell them right away he was a police officer. He wanted to build that relationship. He sees them on the other side often, and he wanted this opportunity to pour into their lives and show them, that he does care and that the police officers really do care.
That's wisdom right there.
Yeah.
You have a need for housing. What is that?
We do. It's probably our biggest need. We see all the time these girls who are couch surfing, or again, we see these girls aging out of the system. We see girls coming out of residential treatment centers, and there's really no place for them. They're not really quite ready to go back into the community. We see girls who are sex trafficked victims, and we don't want them to be locked away. We want them to realize they are a victim. We don't want them to stay in that mode forever. We want them to overcome, and yet there just aren't very many places for them. And so we just recently bought a county building, and we're excited to get that going here in the next year. We're working with, family court and some people to know what would be best for that building, but it's a huge need that we have.
Pastor Patty Hostetler, Hannah's House 119. Go to hannahshouse119.com to find out more. Thank you so much for all you're doing in our community.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's a blessing.